Very good morning to you. Hope you are making the best of the holiday season. It is a pleasure on our part to welcome you to the news at 10 on NTA News 24, broadcasting live from Abuja. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. Let's begin the news with the headlines. Correspondence situation report on the 72-hour closure of the third mainland bridge in Lagos. First ever International Day of Epidemic Preparedness harps on stronger partnership towards emergency preparedness system. Plus, some 838 new COVID-19 infections recorded in 16 states and the FCT. The 72-hour closure of the third mainland bridge in Lagos did not present the overwhelming gridlock envisaged. However, some residents are still finding it difficult to navigate the city as the bridge is an easy gateway for movement between the island and mainland axis of the city. Michael Olaleye reports.
A visible display of apprehension on why the third mainland bridge is still closed at a time when the Lagos Island outbound lane should have been opened for traffic. But with the assistance of traffic management officers who are on standby, motorists were redirected to the alternative routes. Navigating around these alternatives is clearly not a comfortable experience for some, who point out the financial burden in addition to the stress involved.
I will need to stress myself down to Ido to connect back to Third Mainland Bridge, and it will cost me a lot of fuel. If I'm flying it from this way to Iyanoworo now, you know the cost of the fuel. It should not be more than 5-10 minutes, but now I'll be spending like 30 minutes to connect to Iyanoworo.
The total closure of the bridge this festive period was specifically decided to ease the pressure on commuters, and the drive around the metropolis was actually a pleasant experience due to the low volume of vehicles on roads.
From yesterday when they unlocked the terminal bridge, to come and to go back is very free. There's not much traffic like last week.
The saying that there is no gain without pain is the mindset most road users seem to have adopted.
I think the most important thing is that it's being repaired. If this is not repaired and the bridge collapse one day, we're all in trouble. If I take care now, it's probably going to take me a faster time to get to where I'm going compared to any other day. So I have no issue with it. Additional 10 minutes, I'm back to where I'm going.
This is the third time the bridge will be totally closed to traffic, but this is the longest as the 72-hour closure terminates Monday nights. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
Following a careful review of the first phase of the end of the year special patrol by personnel of the Federal Road Safety Corps, the Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi expresses deep concerns over speed-related crashes recorded within the period and directs commanding officers to step up enforcement of the law on use of speed-limiting devices. In a statement, the Corps Marshal expressed satisfaction with the conduct of most drivers and the performance of the personnel in containing the rate of fatalities within the period of Christmas celebration. Despite massive public enlightenment by the Corps on the menace of speed-induced crashes, the situation is yet unabated. To this end, the Corps Marshal has directed officers to step up enforcement of regulations on use of speed-limiting device in the second phase of the special operations and first quarter of next year to drastically force down the growing trend of speed-induced crashes. Consequently, those who default the speed limiter's order will not be spared. This year's Yuletide in Port Harcourt and environs is devoid of the usual field queues that characterize festive seasons in the past. Notwithstanding the availability of the product, commercial transporters exploited some members of the public who embarked on travels to their countrysides to mark the 2020 festivities. Kingsley Amajiri reports.
Across filling stations visited, the product is available. Issues of panic buying and long queues are not in sight, with fuel sold between 163 naira and 165 naira per litre. Motorists expressed joy that there are no queues, but are however concerned that the price is still high.
It's fine that the government has tried, there is no queue, but as a oil producing nation, we want to buy fuel cheaper, not because there is no queue, the fuel should be high.
Everything is moving fine now, because the other time you feel to buy fuel there will be embarrassment and all such of that, but now everything is okay.
I feel good, but it's still expensive. I drive car every day and nothing come out. See, I just bought fuel before. I'm buying again.
There is also a relative increase in transportation fare, especially for those traveling outside the state.
It was 2,000, but now they say it's 2,500. Because of the Christmas, because everybody is traveling, so that's why they increase their transport, because they know that the majority want to go home.
That's where we are going. It's 2,500. We are sitting 3-3 per seat. Nothing. I don't know what to do. I just think maybe it's because of this Xmas period.
As the year comes to an end, concerned stakeholders want the government to intensify efforts at local refining of petroleum products in the country towards bringing down the price in the coming year. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Now, one major feature of the Yuletide is the merriment associated with festivities and exchange of good tidings among relatives and loved ones. With the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country, the celebration is expected to be low-key if efforts aimed at checking the spread of the virus should be achieved. Maureen Leo Ajom reports that the Cross River State government is not relenting on its urge to curtail the further spread of the virus.
This time of the year, there are usually a lot of festivities, but the fact remains that the fear of COVID-19 should be the beginning of a conscious lifestyle. As governments and health watchers call the Nigerians and every resident to take responsibility of their safety against the pandemic, most Calabar residents are adhering to the COVID-19 safety protocols, especially as the Cross River State government has cancelled this year's annual Calabar Carnival. To some others, caution had been thrown to the wind. With a rather dampened mood for the celebration of the season, the consciousness of the people has taken a new dimension, with the COVID-19 safety precautionary measures gaining attention. However, as festivities and celebrations increase during this Yuletide, the importance of adherence to COVID-19 protocol is key.
Nobody should be pushed to go back to safety rules. Everybody, having observed what had happened before, should be adhered to what is done, should key into the situation and know what to do at each point in time.
I don't take chances. I do as much as the COVID-19 task force are guiding us to do. So I'm taking my own precaution, and I believe other people too who value their lives should do same.
Cross River State COVID-19 response team is seeking immediate action from members of the public to prevent further spread of the virus, adding that nightclubs must remain closed till further notice.
Of course, we are in the festive period. The truth of the matter is Nigerians need to be more careful. People need to protect themselves. If you can avoid traveling at this point in time, that would be great for you to stay back where you are to protect yourself and protect your loved ones by that action.
And so, Calabar residents say it couldn't be different here. In Calabar, Maureen Leo Ajom, NTA News.
To harness the lessons of the coronavirus pandemic, it is very pertinent for countries of the world, including Nigeria, to make huge investments in preparedness capacities to prevent, detect, and investigate emergencies of all kinds. This is the position of the United Nations General Assembly as the global community marks the first ever International Day of Epidemic Preparedness on December 27, 2020. Ifeoma Ikoje reports that the day seeks to advocate partnership to build strong emergency and epidemic preparedness systems as part of an overall approach to advance universal healthcare system.
In the words of the Director General of the World Health Organization, it is hard to believe that only a year ago, COVID-19 was still completely unknown to mankind, yet in the last 12 months has occupied the center stage with far-reaching consequences for societies and economies. So far, the COVID-19 has infected more than 6.6 million people, killing some 1.5 million the world over. This devastating record necessitated the adoption of a consensus resolution by the 193-member UN General Assembly, recognizing the need to raise the level of preparedness in order to have the earliest and most adequate response to any epidemic that may arise in the future.
Not necessarily wait until there is a COVID-19 or there is an Ebola to do the right thing.
While the pandemic caught the world off guard, stakeholders in Oyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital, say it has also served as a wake-up call for improving the standard of healthcare services.
The COVID-19 that is ravaging everywhere in the whole world now. They say there's a vaccine that they have discovered, but we don't even have the facilities. That this vaccine will only be relevant if we have storage facilities that will go as low as -80.
To actualize the aim of the recently proclaimed International Day of Epidemic Preparedness, the United Nations call for all government and society approach that will ensure a safer, more resilient and sustainable world. In Oyo, Ifeoma Ikoje, NTN News.
Thanks, Ifeoma. Now, 838 new COVID-19 infections have been recorded in Nigeria within the past 24 hours. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, says the new infections were discovered in 16 states and the Federal Capital Territory, bringing the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Nigeria to 84,414. Among the new cases, FCT recorded 297, Lagos 253, Plateau 82, Kaduna 57, Katsina 32, Nasarawa 31, Kano 25, Gombe 24, Oyo and Rivers States 8 cases, Zamfara 7, Ogun, Bauchi and Edo States recorded 4 cases each, while Anambra and Sokoto States have 1 case apiece. Active cases nationwide have increased to 12,126, while total cases discharged are 71,034. Sadly, the death toll has also risen to 1,254. You are tuned into the news at 10 on NTA News 24, reaching you live from Abuja. And when we return from this break, Presidency engages 1,000 youth and launches National Young Farmer Scheme. Stay with us. You're welcome back. World Bank calls for improved participation of women in economic activities. Let's join Chimabi Walter Naji, who is standing by on Business News with details.
Stakeholders have advocated an increased participation of women in meaningful economic activities of the country as a way of attaining financial stability and strengthening the nation's economy. They were speaking against the backdrop of the research carried out by the World Bank on the participation rate of women in economic activities. They noted that women contribute greatly to nation building and development, hence the need to empower them financially.
The research says participation in economic activity. We have a stereotype in this part of the world. We think that jobs are what government provides, and then you go there and you get paid and you go home. That was ages ago. Nowadays, employment is what you generate, what you create for yourself. So women in particular have a lot to contribute in the economy. The participation rates that the World Bank has been speaking about are actually in economic participation, not necessarily in politics.
With Business News, Chimabi Walter Naji.
Thanks, Chimabi. The presidency has reaffirmed that the recently launched National Young Farmers Scheme, an initiative of National Agricultural Land Development Authority, NALDA, by President Muhammadu Buhari to engage 1,000 youth in each of the 774 local government areas in agriculture, has the capacity to create million jobs, ensure food sufficiency, and maintain the sector's position as the largest contributor to the nation's gross domestic product. The special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, disclosed this while on a working visit to Abeokuta.
Is central to the heart of this government. Each time we hold a Federal Executive Council meeting and a minister comes to make a proposal, it is mandatory that that minister must include the number of jobs that will be generated.
Mr. Femi Adesina, while speaking to NTA News of the achievements of the current administration in the outgoing year, promised that the federal government would continue to roll out policies and programs targeting more youthful population by streamlining priority on agriculture, arts, entertainment, mining, and information technology, calling on youths to take advantage of them.
Agriculture, you have the Young Farmer Scheme that has been introduced, you have the Anchor Borrowers Program, you have many policies that have been introduced that will yield jobs.
He also reiterated that the current administration is not resting on its oars to provide more infrastructural developments capable of attracting both local and international investments to the country.
If there are roads that states want, why not? We have sat in Federal Executive Council meeting where roads were ceded to states before. So it can happen if the right moves are made.
On the state of the nation's security, the presidential spokesman said the present administration is winning the war against insurgency, saying that the insurgents have been denying their territories, which they had captured before Buhari's administration began.
In Nigeria, tackling insecurity is work in progress.
While calling on all Nigerians not to let down their guards in the war against common enemy COVID-19, Femi Adesina advised Nigerians to adhere strictly to all public safety protocols laid down by the authorities, as well as project a better Nigeria in the coming year.
The Director General of the All Progressives Governors Forum, Salihu Mohammed Lukman, says the time is now to activate and speed up implementation of proposals in APC manifesto, bordering on building a modern infrastructure for national development. In a statement in response to the recent negotiations that led to the conditional suspension of strike by ASU, the Director General suggests the establishment of a new position within the presidency that will be mandated to coordinate all government actions aimed at achieving the national development objectives. APC political party in line with its vision as promoter of social democracy, the Director General observed, should harmonize critical government organs to pay priority attention to issues of education, health, and security. It took the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, 9 months to suspend the strike it embarked upon to press for implementation of agreements reached with the federal government over its demands. Olayinka Ojo, in this special report, takes a look at the effects of strike in the education sector.
Eating every day makes us unhealthy.
It is an established fact that education is the backbone of human civilization and the driver of socio-economic development of all nations. However, the education sector in Nigeria, especially at the tertiary level, has in the last 30 years suffered unprecedented distraction due to unrest and industrial actions. Between 1979 and 1999, crises arising from unpaid teacher salary or allowances, degeneration of facilities, and other issues have led to several work stoppages. The National Universities Commission records shows that from 1992 to date, more than 23 strikes have been embarked upon by unions in tertiary levels, resulting to students spending more years in school.
In every agreement, there is always provision for review. And it is not about fund being available. It is about seeing education as a priority.
Whatever the reason for the incessant long strikes, experts express fear that some students may drop out, while those who complete their education may be half-baked. Abdulsalam Bashir is a 400-level mass communication student from Kwara State University.
Really missed a lot, and we're looking forward in getting back to school.
I have friends that they had to go learn some kind of hand job or something.
I'm so happy this strike has been called off.
Parents whose children remain at home for most part of the time are torn between pleading with government and lecturers for their ward to remain at school and acquire education.
Year has been added to my financial burden. At least after Christmas, they can afford to go back to school.
And I appreciate that they also had called out the strike, then they're having human sympathy for us.
That explains why the news of the call-off of the strike embarked upon since the 23rd of March 2020 is greeted with excitement from all quarters, with the hope that it will be the last time universities will be shut due to industrial action, as the country has recorded one strike too many. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Away from Nigeria, U.S. President Donald Trump has finally signed a $2.3 trillion financial package that is crucial to billions of jobless Americans after coming under pressure from legislators. The White House confirmed the outgoing president had signed the bill shortly after tweeting about the COVID relief bill. Trump had earlier been under pressure from all legislators across all parties to stop blocking the pandemic aid and government funding bill, which had been earlier approved by government. The bill was also necessary for unemployment benefits, relief payments to families, money for vaccine distribution, businesses, cash-starved public transport, and protections against eviction. Now let's talk sports. Kwara United beats Plateau United away